On Wednesday morning, tragedy struck Minneapolis. What began as a routine school morning turned deadly. Families were sending their children off for the first week of school. At Annunciation Church and Catholic School, children as young as 6 gathered for morning mass. It was meant to be a peaceful moment, teachers guiding students into a new year. But just before 8:30 a.m., that calm was shattered. A masked shooter approached the church from outside. He was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. The suspect fired dozens of rounds through the church windows toward the pews. The attack was swift and devastating. Emergency teams rushed to the scene. Ambulances arrived as parents, teachers, and students tried to find safety. Hospitals braced for multiple casualties. 2 children lost their lives. One was 8 years old, and the other was 10. 17 others were injured. Most of the wounded were children between 6 and 15. Medical teams treated the injured at the scene and at hospitals. Police later identified the shooter as 23-year-old Robin Westman from suburban Minneapolis. Westman had a personal connection to the parish. Her mother previously worked at the church and school as a parish secretary and assistant. Authorities say Westman acted alone and died by suicide at the rear of the church. Investigators processed the scene and collected evidence. Detectives cataloged weapons and materials found on site. Investigators also uncovered disturbing digital material linked to Westman. Videos had been scheduled for upload and were taken down for review. Investigators found written plans and journal entries describing the attack. There were hateful and violent messages scrawled on the weapons. References to other mass shootings appeared in the material. The FBI has joined the investigation, exploring possible domestic terrorism and hate crime motivations. In the evenings that followed, hundreds gathered in vigils across the Twin Cities. Families mourned, leaving flowers, photos, and toys at makeshift memorials. Strangers embraced one another, trying to make sense of the loss. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey addressed the city in strong terms. He said that thoughts and prayers are not enough. The kids impacted were literally praying at the time, he reminded the public. In the aftermath, some sought to weaponize the shooter's identity against a broader community. Mayor Frey and community leaders urged against scapegoating and hate. They reminded the public that one person's actions do not define an entire group. This tragedy is part of a larger, grim pattern across the country. It marked nearly the 60th school shooting in America this year alone. The sense of safety for students and families has been deeply shaken. Community members and leaders began meeting to discuss next steps in healing. People sought ways to honor the victims and to support the grieving families. Calls for policy action and prevention were renewed at local and state levels. Tonight, we hold space for the families whose lives have been shattered. The community's memorials are a quiet reminder of what was lost. Hundreds came together to grieve and remember. It's a heartbreak that has become far too familiar. Yet communities continue to come together in the aftermath. We remember the children taken and the families left to rebuild. Many hope this becomes a wake-up call for lasting change. Calls for concrete action on prevention and safety intensified. Small acts of remembrance point toward healing and community resilience. Tonight, we hold space for the families, friends, and the whole community. We mourn 2 children and pray for the recovery of the injured. If this story affects you, resources and support links are in the description. Good night.